Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Mcubed show about all things fantasy sci-fi. As always, I'm your host Schmook. Now let's get right into the news. We've had quite a bit of news this past week, honestly. We finally have a release date for Amazon's Lord of the Rings show, which comes out September 2nd, 2022. We also got our first look at it with an awesome image, and it looks pretty gorgeous. Again, I love Lord of the Rings. I love that universe. It's going to be one of the most expensive shows of all time, probably the most expensive show of all time. It's supposed to be more expensive than Game of Thrones, which had a huge production budget. But yeah, I'm looking real forward to that, but hopefully it doesn't let us down, because Lord of the Rings is my favorite franchise possibly ever. It's that and Star Wars. There's nothing in between or outside. It's those two, you know? So we also we have a new Blade Runner anime show coming out, which I believe is supposed to take place between the original Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. So in that middle part to kind of fill the gaps of what we missed in that time. So I look forward to that. We also have a Witcher animated show that's coming out relatively soon as well, I think in a week or so. In other news, it is confirmed by the actor who plays Moth Gideon that Moth Gideon will return in Mandalorian season 3, and that filming is starting real soon. So that's good. I mean, I could tell that if they wanted to end Mandalorian, they easily could have with season 2's ending. But I mean, there's still a lot of story to tell. Obviously, our Mando, Din Djarin, has to go. He's gonna go to Mandalore, I would assume, and try to reclaim the throne now that he holds the Darksaber, right? And he's gonna help out Bo-Katan with that, and any other Mandalorians still out there. And hopefully, maybe with Book of Boba Fett, we'd have more of an ending that leads into Mandalorian season 3 where Boba Fett even comes back. Because, I mean, we can't get enough of Boba Fett, right? I believe that's all for news. Maybe there's some other small things that I didn't catch. But those are the big things. Again, look real forward to Lord of the Rings show. I look forward to Mandalorian season 3. And, again, these Blade Runner and Witcher animated shows are supposed to be coming out real soon. So I say you watch that, I'll watch that, we'll have something to talk about. So let's just get on to our weekly reviews. Alright, well, first things first, again, I did not go over last week's Rick and Morty, but this one that we just had seems to follow up right after it, where it has to do with the whole incest baby, and there's a lot of cool things in this episode that I really enjoyed. I really liked all the Voltron, references and whatnot, right? And same with Power Rangers. I really liked this episode kind of being, the full family together, for the most part, because, again, Summer, her personal journey throughout this whole show has been where does she fit in with this family? Because I mean, Jerry's always with Beth or Rick, Beth's always with Rick or Jerry, Morty's always with Rick, you know? Summer, she has to find her place with everyone. Everyone has their paired partner that makes it work for a series, right? But this is an episode where we get to see them all working together, where it's usually a split adventure, and she's the middle child, even though not literally, right? But she's also the fifth wheel, you know, which can be rough on a person, you know, not really from knowing who they are as a person. And that's why, with this incest baby, she feels it is truly hers and her person, you know, that to take care of or go on adventures with, you know. But she doesn't necessarily have that person. So I really liked that aspect of this episode. I really liked once they all formed into a Voltron-esque thing, and took down that monster at the bridge, even though the bridge never attacked anyone. It was just basically screaming at the people in cars, where obviously the people can't understand what the monster's saying. But I love it that the after credits scene of the episode, those monsters are just saying listen, we have to tell them we have the cure for AIDS. I think it was AIDS. So it's funny. So they just kill this monster that's just trying to help out the human race. There's also a lot of other references I really love in this episode. For instance, there was a ton of gangster references, right? There was the Rick with the 5 families or whatever, where you definitely have a Rick that looks exactly like Don Corleone from The Godfather, like Marlon Brando, right? And you have one that looks like Scarface, and then you have one that looks like Sonny from The Godfather, and it's fun. There's so many different references to gangster and mob films throughout this whole episode, which I love because I'm a huge mobster fan, right? Those are some of my favorite movies of all time, Goodfellas. The Irishman that's probably my top 5 of all time. Goodfellas is just out of it now. Once The Irishman came out, Goodfellas was always my top 5, but then Irishman came out and blew my mind. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, that's really it for Rick and Morty. It's a solid episode. It follows last week's episode quite a bit. Not like a ton, but I mean, it definitely feels like a direct sequel in a way to the episode, which I like. I like when there's more of like a continuation of episodes in a series. Like with Rick and Morty, it's always usually just been like one and done episodes, but I like when it continues off where they left off last. Speaking of continuing where they left off last, let's go on the Bad Batch, where this is definitely a more continuous type of show. All right, so Bad Batch this week was epic. Okay, so we're finally getting to the point of it feeling like we're nearing the end of the Bad Batch, which is sad. It's really sad because I've really come to quite enjoy this show. I mean, again, unless we get multiple seasons and they continue what they've been doing, I don't think it'll surpass Rebels or Clone Wars for me personally. But it has a lot of really cool like things to add to the Star Wars universe. Like it brings old stuff back from like Legends and whatnot. So like it's gonna be sad when the show's gone because I think we only have 2 more episodes now, maybe 3, maybe I don't know. I think we have 2 more left anyway. But this last episode was pretty epic. I liked that in this episode specifically, Omega and Wrecker kind of sat in the background most of it. Like they were obviously still in the episode, but they weren't like the main characters. Like they always seem to be, right? I seem to get that vibe. But I love Wrecker and I love Omega. Those are the characters that you kind of like expect to hate when you first meet them, and I didn't like either of them that much. I've come to love them, and that's what Dave Filoni does rather well, right? Like he did that with Ezra. I never loved Ezra until later on in Rebels. Same with Ahsoka. Like almost no one liked Ahsoka. Now she's one of the big fan favorites there is in Star Wars, which is crazy. So Dave Filoni knows how to do that, but he also has to realize that they're not the only characters in the show. Like I liked getting more Echo. I liked getting more Echo dialogue, more Echo like character themes, like just him not being a complete background character all the time, right? Like I really like Echo as a character, and like I always liked him from Clone Wars, and it's just nice to have him actually do something in this episode because I think he's a good character. He just doesn't really do much. Same with Tech. Like Tech was definitely a bigger character in this episode too. And like again, like he doesn't really do that much in the show. Like I like him, but he's like him and Echo became like complete background characters for so long. It's been mostly the Hunter, the Omega, and the Wrecker show. And every once in a while Crosshair. Like Crosshair is the main villain of this show, right? But anyway, we see them on this like this Empire base, right? Where there's a lot of like defecting clones that are imprisoned, and they're trying to save this one guy that Rex wanted them to save, which makes me think Rex is probably going to be in the next episode helping save Hunter, because as we see in the end of the episode, Hunter gets captured, like where everyone else is able to escape but Hunter. So Hunter's locked in a little jail cell and Crosshair talks to him with a great line like, "I was hoping for more, but you'll have to do," or something like that. And it's so villainous, and like I really like him as a character. But Hunter's really, really cool because he's just like, he's the leader, you know, like when he's completely surrounded, he's calming in to the other ship, or to his ship with his crew, and he's saying like, "Listen, I'll find a way out, just leave." But he knows he's screwed, which is crazy. Like, but yeah, Bad Batch had a real solid episode this week. We also got some Commando cameos, which I really like seeing. I always love seeing clone commandos. We haven't really seen them in a long time. I would love to see them in a live-action movie at some point, or TV show just called Clone Commandos. I know one of my friends was kind of upset that, why are we getting this Bad Batch series? Like, I want a Clone Commandos series. I'm like, yeah, it'd be sick. Obviously, like Republic Commandos. That'd be an awesome movie to see, or show to see. But like, I don't want them to be animated. We've only ever seen them animated or in a video game, right? But like, imagine a sick like horror action like film with clone commandos, kind of like Aliens, right? That's what I would want it to be, but with commandos. I don't know, that's just my thought. Hopefully y'all would agree with that. I mean, of course, like, I don't need a full-on show about commandos in animation, as long as they appear. I think they're way more suited for live action, where Bad Batch, sure, you could do it live action, but like, I think it works better as an animated show, like Rebels or Clone Wars. And I really like the animation. Like, it's definitely a better looking version of Clone Wars, kind of like, you know, with the Clone Wars we got towards the end of the series with that whole like Revenge of the Sith arc, and even the Bad Batch episodes of the last season. But yeah, I'm hoping to see Vader by the end of this series, because again, when we see him in Clone Wars, I'm like, whoa. Like, he looks insanely good in this animation style. I really liked how Vader looked in Clone Wars, yeah, but I did love how he looked in Rebels. Rebels was a completely different art style, but like the Vader look in Clone Wars seems way more badass, and like I can't even imagine seeing Vader like just like standing in front of Hunter or Wrecker, right? Like I'd lose my shit. But anyway, I think that's gonna be it for this week, guys. I would like to do a throwback review, but I think I'm going a little long this episode. But for sure, I'll have a throwback for you next week. I think I decided I'm gonna. I started watching the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie, the first one. I didn't finish it. If I finished it, I probably would have done a video for it, or a little review for it. Next week for sure, I'll talk about that. Then we'll talk about Into Darkness, and we'll talk about Star Trek Beyond the weeks after that. But yeah, that'll be it. So just go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave comments down below. Let me know what you like and what you dislike. But I'd like for you to definitely like and subscribe because we want to get this channel to grow, to get what we have to say out there, especially if y'all enjoy what we have to say. And there's going to be a lot more fun content to talk about here soon, like Bad Batch and Rick and Morty. Not a lot. I mean, I like Rick and Morty and Bad Batch a lot, but I don't think that's enough to bring the people. Like once like Book of Boba Fett comes out, I know y'all are going to love that. Alright, so, and same with Witcher. Right, well, I hope y'all have an excellent week, and next week, stay tuned for the Star Trek throwback. Alright, peace out, guys.